Good morning, everyone. Here we are. It is, of course, the Fruit Nut News on, of course, today, which is, of course, Wednesday, the 29th of the 4th, 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, we are, of course, the middle of the week, as you well know. And it is, of course, very interesting, as they say in the trade. So let me just get the Fruit Nut scrolls up, see what you lot's been yakety about. Let's have a look here. Who have we got? So good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Everybody in the house. Everybody. So the big news of today, ladies and gentlemen, is, of course, the King. The King, of course, as you all know, has been appearing in America for some very auspicious shit that's going on, which is actually quite interesting. Now, the King, there seems to be a lot of, should we say, well, I mean, how would we describe this, Mark? Jovial banter. There seems to be a lot of jovial banter. Now, remember that the King has gone there, basically trying, of course, to make the special relationship good again. Unfortunately, what the British monarchy haven't realised is that it's already over and done and dusted. Anyway, that's by the by. Their last card, of course, was to send the King to repair relations. And, of course, from the point of view of that, there's been all kinds of little things going on. Donald Trump walking in front of the King, so to speak. Donald Trump not allowing the King to say hello to any of his guests, of course. And one of the interesting things was HMS Trump. Now, the King talked to Donald Trump about HMS Trump. Now, HMS Trump was a submarine, from what I can gather, and it was scrapped rather a few years ago. But apparently, it was quite pivotal in some operations. So let's just quickly have a look at the gematria on HMS Trump. Now, the King said to, this is really funny actually, the King said to Starmer, I want to present you with the original bell from HMS Trump, okay, which is quite an apt little thing to do, a bell. Now, when we talk about bells, of course, what are we also remembering? Well, we're also remembering about the bells of the past that have all been taken away. And one of the reasons, of course, is that bells emit a frequency that certain characters don't like. So the reference to the bell was quite interesting. The also other reference, of course, that we can join the dots on is, of course, the Liberty Bell. Now, this is the Liberty Bell, JFK Jr., where we go one, we go all. Not quite sure what boat that was on, can't remember. But anyway, it's the Liberty Bell. It's called the Liberty Bell. So this is very interesting. So let's have a quick look at the gematria on HMS Trump. So first of all, we have connect the dots, okay? So I did a bit of a speech a couple of days ago telling everybody that they've got to get better at connecting the dots, and that many people cannot connect the dots. Able to cure cancer, final warnings, cleaning the house, cease and desist, Sandman, which is referring to Operation Sandman. Independence Day, 4th of July, as we well know. The pineal gland, I'm presuming that's the pineal gland, is going to be opened. And game over for, of course, the monarchy. Now, there are reports that the king is, of course, suffering from a condition called Kuru. Kuru, K-U-R-U, is a disease often associated with cannibalistic tribes in the Amazon, which is quite an interesting one. Now, apparently, the sausage fingers displayed by the king are apparently the body swelling to the Kuru, which is quite an interesting one. So anyway, we will of course wait and see. I'm sure that the king's sort of situation basically sort of highlights really what's going on. It is still very difficult to understand what's going on. So don't be under any illusion that, the BBC or Sky News or whatever is going to all of a sudden come out and tell you the truth, because they're fucking not. Now, other interesting things that happened, Pete Hegseth's wife was wearing a Temu dress. Apparently the dress was a £15 dress. Now, apparently, Pete sort of said to everybody that the reason that she was wearing a cheap dress was because apparently he'd spent all his wages on cocaine and alcohol. Brilliant. Meanwhile, of course, Melania and Donald were seen holding hands. In regards to the state dinner. Unfortunately, the hands weren't held for very long. Melania decided that she was having none of it and basically pushed his hand away. There were some very sideways glances from Donald Trump, which is quite interesting. So it is going to be interesting to move, as we move forward, to see what the official relationship is between Melania and, of course, and Trump. There is also more information coming out, not only due to the Epstein files, but going back to the history of Melania and how she ended up in one of the most prominent positions in the world. So it is technical. So we'll just have to wait and see. The only thing that we can rely on, I suppose, is the history that we have already seen with our own eyes. Now, we know that Melania was linked to Pablo, or Pavlo, whatever you want to call him. We know that he was a man that was escorting from the Ukraine, from Russia and Ukraine, etc., etc. That was his specialty. We know that he's connected to Epstein. We know that his wife has now been deported to Brazil through the Trump administration, and obviously doesn't have access to the son. So that's the history that we know. So as I always say to you, let things roll, and see what happens. We can't rush these things. You can't expect a baby to be born if it's not due to be born. So, relax, chill, and all that kind of thing. Yesterday, of course, Donald Trump announced that, Iran was begging for the Strait of Hormuz to be opened. There was some reference in the King's speech in regards to that as well, which is quite interesting. But I'll let you do your own. I'll let you do your own shit on that. So very, very interesting. Now, meanwhile, of course, Tommy Robinson, apparently Tommy Robinson has received quite a lot of money from a guy called Bob Shillman. I've got no idea who Bob Shillman is, but apparently he's received a £100,000 donation from Bob. Now, Bob, if you do want to donate any money anywhere else, the Fruit Nut News needs a computer. We need a proper broadcasting suite. So just heads up, Bob. All right, man. Now, not only is Tommy received this £100,000 donation from Bob, he's actually actively asking for more money, which is actually really interesting. And then, of course, as you all know, there is a cold spell that apparently is heading towards Europe, apparently. So if you are in the gardening fraternity, please don't put out your plants just yet, because it's going to get apparently a little bit cold. Now, that sort of runs in line, of course, with the fact that the weather is being manipulated all across the world. And we now find that Iran has had 400% increase in rain since, of course, they knocked out some American satellites. So it is actually going to be interesting as we move forward. Now, one of the things that we did notice about the king during his speeches was the fact that he, of course, supports Ukraine and Zelensky. There is, of course, that was a bad move, I believe, but anybody supporting Ukraine and Zelensky at this particular stage in the game, to me personally, is really not overly informed. There was a section in GB News a couple of days ago supporting the Ukraine and Zelensky war. Well, if you are very shy on the information that you have, you will know that supporting Ukraine in Zelensky is a big no-no. You would also know that supporting Israel in Gaza and Lebanon is also a big no-no. Okay, now we can support the Iranian situation because we know that Iran is a proxy for the British monarchy and oil prices around the world, and also the choke points. It's very important for you to remember that the choke points are used to control the price of oil, which controls the economy. Now, you imagine that you had free energy, or should we say, to start with, you imagine that you had oil that was basically pence per litre, just like it was during the reign of Colonel Gaddafi, who unfortunately found himself at the end of a sniper gun. Very interesting. So, yeah. So, friends of Israel, friends of Ukraine, friends of Zelensky, friends of Macron, friends of the EU. It's a big no-no. It's a fucking big no-no. Anyway, as we well know, I spoke about the hidden hand of the royalty. And of course, the king is trying to diplomatically bully President Trump into changing his mind in regards to the new American economy, which is not reliant on the UK, and of course relies on expansion and prosperity for everybody, not just for the elite, for everybody. And of course, the king, despite his bullshit rhetoric that he comes out with, of course, has got no intention of the British people being prosperous or entrepreneurial or go-getting. It appears as though the king wants everybody to be on £40 a week, even though they are living, in a democracy, apparently, and it's quite amazing. It's an amazing politics, actually, when you think about it. We've now got a benefit system that needs more money than the country is generating in revenue. Now, I don't know about you, but despite the wealthy people knocking around, how do they think that that system is going to continue if they are going to continue robbing the money? And here's what's going to happen. If they continue down this route, all that's going to happen is, first of all, the lower class people will run out of money. Then the middle class people will run out of money. And finally, the nail in the coffin will be the fact that the rich people will run out of money. Because, of course, the people at the top are siphoning off the people from the bottom. Once the bottom's empty, they'll go to the next layer up and the next layer up and the next layer up. So if you happen to be sat on a reasonable amount of money at the moment, a reasonable amount of properties, a reasonable amount of business, ladies and gentlemen, they are coming for you. Very interesting. Unfortunately, there's another plan in place at the moment, so that is going to shock quite a few people. Anyway, we'll wait and see. Now, the US State Department, of course, in the midst of the king fucking flashing his knob around, basically, we've got the US State Department have actually admitted that they went to war with Iran at the request of Israel. That is actually official news. Go and find it if you want to. I'm just telling you because it's easier for me to tell you. Hillary Clinton, of course, and Angela Merkel both has Kuru, which basically links back to the king and a few other people as well. Very, very interesting. What else have we got? The king also supports the World Economic Forum, which is a very dodgy fucking thing. So that's another interesting one as well. Now, this was a really funny one as well. This was really funny. When the king made an address to Congress, as you well know, the king got a standing ovation, okay, from the Democratic Party, from Congress. This, of course, is an organisation that doesn't like kings. And yet here they were, okay, giving a standing ovation to the king of another country. Now, the irony of that is very, very much in your face. Unfortunately, a lot of people won't be able to, won't be able to see it. And that's okay. That's okay if they can't see it. That's okay. Now, Somalia, we come to Somalia. Not content, of course, is with rape, with stealing billions and billions and billions from the USA Medicare system. Okay, very, very interesting. They now are threatening to shut what they call the Bob El Mondeb Strait. I never heard of this. Let's just call it the Bob Strait. Now, the Bob Strait is somewhere between, supplies a lot of shipping between Asia and Europe. Okay, I'll have a look on the map later and find out where it is. But anyway, Somalia is threatening to shut the Strait of Bob. Very interesting. Now, I wish they would shut Keir Starmer's back doors, because that would be far more productive. Oh, yes, and meanwhile, of course, Keir Starmer has basically managed to wiggle his way out of an investigation into the Mandelson situation. Well, how the fuck has that happened? Someone said to me this morning, I'm actually pretty amazed that he did. And I was like, really? You actually really think that they were going to put Keir Starmer under the bus? Really? No. That's not going to happen. Get used to it, son. Get used to it. Now, during the King's speech as well, the King spoke about his Christian faith and how the Christian faith was going to change the world. Meanwhile, of course, Charles happens to be a Muslim. So does his son and his daughter-in-law, Kate. Very interesting. And the king, of course, is openly supporting Islam and supporting this alternative situation that we've got. So yeah, very interesting. But I did find it fascinating how he was claiming that the Christian faith, his Christian faith, was seeing him through some very tough times. Yes, the Arabilis Nomalis has come back again. There you go. Now, don't forget, of course, that Trump once again walked in front of the king. If you have got any idea about what's going on, you will understand that during the capitulation tour of 2017, the king walked in front of the queen. And here we have once again, the king, of course, is sorry. Mr. Trump is making the king. It was quite an embarrassing tour, actually, to be honest. On both sides, on both sides, and of course, it's amazing that these people operate in these, should we say, bully boy tactics, so to speak. But having said that, that's where we are at the moment in the history, etc., etc. And so, as you well know, the Queen originally in 2017 capitulated to America, or should we say the Galactic Federation, because we have to take our galactic people into consideration for the massive changes on the planet that are about to happen. So there you go. Now, here's an interesting one in regards to the Federal Reserve. France has just withdrawn all of its gold from the Federal Reserve. The question is why? Now, I know why, but the question is, do you know why? Why would France remove all of its gold from the Federal Reserve? Easy. The Federal Reserve is crashing very fast. So if you get wind of a company that you're dealing with that is going to crash, you fucking make sure that you get paid before that company crash. Okay? I've done it myself. Okay? The last one that we had was, or I had, should I say, was, I think it was about 50 or, I can't remember, it was 50 or 75,000, was back in the day. Okay, we'd done some work for a big company in Norwich. I got wind that they were crashing because, of course, it was the 2008 building crash, quantitative easing shit and all that. Anyway, I managed to get paid, but there were a lot of people on the site didn't get paid. And we're talking some serious amounts of money, especially the big ones. A lot of the big companies were running at a 90 and 100-day payment scheme. We only had 30 days. So we were actually, I set that up to stop anybody taking the piss. Anyway, so it was a good job we did at the time. Now, what else have we got? Labour Party, new destroyed by not only Islam. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu has called for war. And he said that Jews are the chosen people and you will die for us. Meaning that, of course, everybody else in the world will die for the Israeli cause. Now, remember that the Israeli Jews, or should we say the Israeli Zionists, okay, they basically treat everybody else like shit, okay, and think that we are going to fight for them because they apparently are the chosen people. Now, I actually can't wait till God actually gets here and fucks these idiots off, because there's no way that these people, the way that they behave, there's no way that they are entitled to get anywhere near an ascension. Now, I didn't know this either. William and Kate's wedding, which happened to be about 15 years ago now, I didn't know this. Do you know what? This was £32 million of taxpayers' money. 32 million. Now, I don't know about you, but, I mean, why would you have a wedding for 32 million taxpayers' money? Now, we wanted to go back to the banking situation. Very crazy shit going off in the banking system. So, in Africa, a man had a sister who passed away. And the bank was adamant that they weren't going to pay out the money that she had in the bank. It was about 20,000. I don't know whether it was 20,000 quid or $20,000 or 20,000 rubles or whatever it was. I don't know the currency out there. But anyway, the bank refused to give this man, okay, the money from his sister's bank account, because she'd passed away. So these fucking banks, and I've had this before, these banks trying to keep the fucking money, right? So do you know what he did? He went and dug up her body, okay, and he went down and he wrapped this skeleton, okay, fucking brilliant. He wrapped this skeleton in a blanket and he took it down to the local bank and he threw it on the reception desk, and he said, here's Martha, okay? She's here to claim her 20,000 fucking pounds or whatever it was. I'm like, fucking get on. That's the kind of men that we want. That's the kind of men that we want. Anyway, apparently the bank actually did pay him out the money, even though Martha was dead on the reception. Must have been a shock for the fucking reception girls, that was. But anyway, there you go. Now, let's have a look at old Starmer. So Starmer has told his people, this is why it all went tits up yesterday, if you don't vote for me, you're going to get fucking fired. Now, I don't know about you, but that's pretty strong shit. That is pretty strong shit. Kemi's going up the wall. Listen, just Kemi, sort the fucker out, Kemi. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I haven't got any sympathy with Kemi Badenoch either. I mean, them fuckers have had 14, 15, 20 fucking years to sort the job out. They hadn't even sorted the job out. They didn't get rid of the boats. They didn't get rid of the gangs. They didn't do anything about the crime, did they? No, so they're all as bad as one another. I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen on May the 7th. I mean, I hope to God that the world gets shut down and all that, because this is just ridiculous. I mean, who are you going to vote for? Who the fuck are you going to vote for? There isn't anybody to vote for. It don't matter, it don't matter who it is. I mean, even the Green Party, this Zach Plansky twat. I mean, what a twat this man is. I mean, this is a guy that's got no idea what his manifesto is. In fact, the shooter at the White House had his own manifesto in basically trying to have a go at Donald Trump, okay? And yet Zach Plansky, who's trying to run the country with the fucking plumber from Pimlico, right? It's fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, the other big news as well is, this is really, really interesting, right? Is OPEC. OPEC, ladies and gentlemen, right? Okay. OPEC. OPEC. Oh, and also as well, going back to William and Kate, did you know that the carriage that they had their wedding in, this is just the carriage, £6 billion. £6 billion. I'm going to say that again because we're going to go 666. £6 billion carriage, right? And the wedding was 32 million. Anyway, let's get back to OPEC. OPEC, okay. Now, the United Arab Emirates, okay, has pulled out of OPEC after 60 years, roughly. So I think it's 59 years and 2 months and 3 days and 6 seconds. Okay. Not that I know, but I just wanted to tell you that. Okay. So here we have the United Arab Emirates leaving OPEC. Well, what does this mean? What does this mean? Right. Well, let me try and explain that to you. OPEC was set up, I don't know, back in the fucking day, when they found out about oil. And what OPEC do, OPEC control the prices of oil. First of all, they control the prices of oil. And then what they do, they also control production. And the reason that they do this is because they don't want to produce too many barrels of oil, because then there comes a surplus of oil, which means the price of the oil goes down. They don't want to produce too less oil, because of course the prices of the oil go up, and then people don't buy. So it's a bit of a balancing act. This is what OPEC do. Now, OPEC as an organisation have controlled the oil production and the prices. And we talk about Iran, Venezuela, etc., etc. OPEC was originally a British colonial organisation. It still is to some degree, but not as much as what it was. Now, here's an interesting one that you probably didn't know. British Petroleum, which we all know is BP, is not actually a British oil company. It's an Iranian oil company. And what it does, it sells Iranian oil. It doesn't sell British oil. No. Never has. Doesn't sell American oil. No. It sells Iranian oil. And so OPEC controlled Iran. Iran, British control the prices. I mean, you ever wondered why in the UK, fuel is now £2 a litre, and in America it's 50p a litre. Ever wondered why? And yet the oil price is exactly the same all over the world, ladies and gentlemen. The only difference is tax. That's the only difference. So very, very interesting. Now, what will the outcome of the UAE leaving OPEC? Well, the UAE will be able to produce as much oil as it wants to. It will be able to sell as much oil as it wants to. It will be able to cash in on as much oil that it wants to. There won't be any restrictions. What that means for me and you, of course, is that oil prices are going to drop dramatically. I would say we're going to see 30 pence a gallon, which roughly is about 7.5 pence a litre. We're going to see it. We're going to see it. I'm telling you now. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting time to be alive. Now, here's something that's very interesting in regards to the mainstream media and, of course, and the radio. And we're really talking about some very, should we say, more open channels. I'm still very surprised at the lack of dot joining in regards to information that is coming out of some of these presenters' mouths. Okay, and it appears to me from I've been doing the last few days. I've been doing like quite a few threads. I've been having a look at shit going on and what people are commenting on, and this is particularly relevant when it comes to the king. And what I notice about the comments in regards to the king, that people do not really understand the broader overall picture of what is actually going on, and which leads me to believe that we are in some very, very interesting times. Yes, very interesting. I think that at some stage there is going to be some very, very shocked people, and I don't say that lightly. It's my opinion that from what I've been reading, that some people may have a grasp on certain rabbit holes, so to speak, but there are still very, very few people that are able to really fully understand what's actually going on. I mean, even these New World Order boys, they still have got no idea the depth and the depravity and the criminality of their New World Order. It's fascinating stuff. So we basically are seeing the destruction of the old God, and here we have the king. The king is trying desperately to keep this colonial control going, and you can see that with his rhetoric in regards to Trump, and you've got that little niggly backbiting stuff there. That's typical bullying behaviour. Unfortunately, the king's got no choice. He had to be dispatched to be able to do this. And the other thing that we need to remember is that only a few days before the king went to America, we had a very serious assassination attempt. Now, I don't know about you, but of course, if I'd have been the people, I would have said, look, let's just let this calm down a bit and let's wait and see. But of course, as you well know, the looking glass is of course a very interesting tool that has been used to, of course, predict the outcome of the future. And you, of course, are the witnesses. You are the witnesses to this brand new outcome that is coming very, very fast, and it gets very, very fast every day. Right. I'm off. I'm going to get myself off. It's a beautiful day up in the northeast of England. Once again, we've got no cloud about. It's a little bit cooler. The wind is a little bit cool, but apart from that, in the sun, it's beautiful. Beautiful day. Anyway, listen, great stuff. Take care. Love you loads. Have a great time. Enjoy yourself. Don't get up to too much trouble. And we will, of course, see you all again very, very shortly. Love you loads. Take care. Cheers. Bye.